A few days ago, one of my followers sent me a disturbing voice note. It was a recording of an incident that took place in a local salon. A mother dropped off her two daughters, aged 5 and 7, to get their hair done. But the moment that mother walked out of the salon, the two little girls began talking. And what they literally revealed about their home life left everyone in that salon speechless. Now let's listen to the voice note together.
So the other day when I went to the salon, a mom dropped off her two daughters. I think the older one was 7, the other one was 5 years old. The older daughter was disturbing people at the salon. She said a lot of things. The younger girl said that her older sister would hide in the parlor to kiss their cousin, another friend, a relative. So these two people that she's hiding to kiss are boys. And then we asked where she saw that. She said she saw people kissing on her mom's phone. Started talking about their parents, things that went on at home. They were saying, oh, remember that night daddy beats mommy? Then there was a night that mommy held a knife and was shouting. Their dad smokes. Sometimes their dad gives it to them to also, take a puff. The other day their dad was fighting with his brother, which is their uncle. Something came up and someone asked, when you're older, you take care of your parents. And I said, no, that when their parents are old, their parents will die. And this was the younger sister and talking. She kept insisting that her parents will die, so she will not need to take care of them. And then when she's older, she have 3 men that she will choose from. One will cook for her, one will buy her everything that she wants, all of that.
As a family coach and a counselor, I spent time analyzing this recording. I didn't listen to it for the shock value. I analyzed it to look at the severe parental defects, the broken attachment bonds, and the psychological damage being done to these children in real time. Today, I am taking off the kid gloves. We need to talk about what happens to the child's mind when adult chaos spill into their innocent world. Now, from the audio, the children's comments suggest exposure to domestic violence, marital conflict, substance use by parents, adult sexual content, inappropriate sexualized behavior, poor emotional security, inadequate supervision, distorted understanding of relationships and family roles, exposure to aggression as a conflict resolution method, emotional detachment from parents. The most concerning aspects of these disclosures appear to come from the fact that these children spoke of these things casually, suggesting that many of these experiences may have been normalized in their mind. These little girls casually told strangers that daddy beats mommy. They described a terrifying night where their mother held a knife while screaming. They talked about their father fighting their uncle. The children reportedly said, daddy beats mommy. There was a time mommy held a knife screaming, meaning parents fight regularly. Even if this story is partially true, this statement indicates severe exposure to marital crisis, parenting failure. One of the greatest responsibility of parents is creating emotional safety for their children. Children should never become witnesses to physical assault, threats with weapons, violent confrontations, intimidation between parents. When parents engage in violence before their children, they destroy the child's sense of safety. Now, if you paid attention to how they said it, you would notice they weren't crying, they weren't whispering. They said it like they were talking about their favorite cartoon. When children are chronically exposed to physical assault, weapon threats, their brains automatically enter survival mode. They normalize it. For the 7-year-old, this creates extreme hypervigilance and anxiety. For the 5-year-old, it completely distorts how she views conflict resolution. Parents, your walls are transparent to your children. They are blank hard drives recording your worst mistakes. Now, what the parents should have done in this instance would have been resolving their conflict privately. And if they are overwhelmed at any instance, they seek counseling, they seek help. They should never physically assault each other. They should never allow children to witness adult disputes. Parents should strive to establish a non-violent environment for their children. Now, another highlight in the audio is failure to protect children from adult content. This could be seen clearly when the younger daughter clearly stated that the elder sister learned kissing from watching content in the mother's phone. Whether accurate or not, it suggests exposure to content beyond the child's developmental age. Parenting failure. Children between the ages of 5 to 7 should not have unrestricted access to adult romantic content, explicit videos, sexual content, unfiltered phones. Parents are gatekeepers of information children should absorb. Now, the impact of this is that children often imitate what they observe before they understand it. Possible consequences of this is that the children will become prematurely curious over sexuality. They'll be confused over boundaries, inappropriate experimentation of a lot of activities that they have witnessed, vulnerability to exploitation. The issue is not that children become curious. Curiosity is normal. The issue is when curiosity develops without guidance. Better parenting approaches use parental controls, monitor device access, keep phones secured, provide age-appropriate explanations about bodies and boundaries to your children. Inadequate sexual boundary education. This is evident in the younger sister reporting that the elder sister hides to kiss relatives and cousins. Again, the accuracy is uncertain. However, if true, it indicates lack of supervision and boundary education. Personal boundaries, private body rules, safe and unsafe touch, family relationship boundaries. Many parents wrongly assume children will just know. Children don't just know. You teach them. Children learn boundaries through instructions and supervision. Potential consequences without guidance is that the children become confused about consent, inappropriate relationships, future relational difficulties, exposure to substance use. The child reportedly said their father smokes. He sometimes allows them to take a puff. If true, that is extremely concerning. Parenting failure. Children should never be allowed to experiment with substance. Parents are role models. When a parent introduces children to smoking, the behavior becomes normalized. The perceived danger decreases. Future experimentation becomes most likely. Research consistently shows that children exposed to parental substance use are more likely to experiment earlier, develop favorable attitude towards substance, engage in risky behaviors. Now, the best thing to ever do is never involve children in smoking. Avoid smoking around them. Explain healthy consequences to them. Model healthy coping behaviors to your children. Chronic exposure to conflict. The children discussed daddy fights uncle, repeated family conflicts, frequent tension. This suggests a conflict-saturated environment. Children require stability. A home characterized by constant conflict creates chronic stress for the children. Children now begin to expect conflict everywhere they go. Now, the consequences of it is that the children may develop aggressive behavior, poor conflict resolution skills, distrust in relationships, emotional exhaustion. Many adults who grew up in conflict-heavy homes later struggle to maintain peaceful relationships. This is so because chaos became so familiar to them and it ended up becoming part of their lives. Emotional disconnection from parents. Perhaps the most revealing statement was, when our parents get old, they will die. We won't need to take care of them. This statement deserves careful analysis. Children normally view parents as permanent emotional anchor. The issue is not the child's understanding of death. The issue is the emotional tone. The statement appears detached rather than affectionate. This may suggest weak emotional attachment of the children to their parents, emotional neglect from the parents to their children, unresolved anger, lack of secure bonding between the parent and the children. A securely attached child typically imagines a future that includes caring relationships with parents. Now, these parents may have failed to provide consistent affection towards these kids, emotional availability for these children, safe communication, warm family connection with these children. And that has made the children so distant emotionally, so disconnected. So they can casually say, we won't have to take care of our parents. When they grow old, they die. Distorted understanding of relationships. Now, the younger child stated, I will have 3 men. One will buy me things. One will cook. One will serve different functions. For a 5-year-old, this is not necessarily evidence of immorality. Rather, it reflects what the child has absorbed from her environment. Children imitate models around them. Possible sources are adult conversations, social media exposure, television, family dynamics, observed relationships. The parents here have failed to actually shape the children's understanding of healthy relationships. Children learn relationships from observations rather than instructions. Now, this will affect the children in future if not corrected in various ways. For instance, transactional views of relationships, materialistic expectations in relationships, poor understanding of commitment in relationships, reduced appreciation of mutual responsibility in relationships, lack of supervision. Throughout the story, both children disclosed highly personal information to strangers they just met in the public. It is true that children should feel free to express themselves. However, they should also be taught personal boundaries, family privacy, appropriate disclosure, and stranger awareness. The issue is not secrecy. The issue is discernment. What can be shared? What requires adult assistance? When to seek help? Sibling dynamics. An interesting observation is that the younger sister repeatedly exposed the older sister's behavior, or should I say misbehavior. This may indicate sibling rivalry, competition for attention, poor conflict management, lack of emotional coaching. Parents should teach children respect, conflict resolution, loyalty without covering wrongdoing, healthy communication. Now, the most serious parenting mistake. Now, if I were preparing a professional family coaching report on this issue, I would identify the most serious issue in this recording as the parent's failure to create an emotionally safe ecosystem for the children. Everything else may stem from this. Children flourish when they experience safety, predictability, stability, warmth, boundaries, healthy role modeling. Instead, these children appear to be witnessing violence, conflict, possible substance misuse, adult content, emotional instability, poor relationship models. Children do not become what parents tell them. They largely become what parents repeatedly expose them to. Now, if I were to make recommendation for this family, I would say they should end all domestic violence, remove children from adult conflict. They should stop exposing them to smoking and substance use. Adult content should be strictly restricted from children. Parental supervision should be more strengthened in that home. Let me also say that the parents of these children need education. They need to attend family counseling. They need to obtain emotional literacy training for the children. Consistent family routine and rebuilding trust and attachment will go a long way to help this family. The long-term effect, if this is done, is emotional safety for the children, respectful communication, healthy conflict resolution, clear boundaries, and positive relationship models. When children become chronic witnesses to adult conflicts, they often carry those lessons into adolescence, marriage, parenting, unless intentional intervention is done. From my point of view, the disclosures here are less alarming because of any single incident and more alarming because they reveal a household where adult problems appear to repeatedly spilling into the children's emotional world. When children become chronic witnesses to adult dysfunction, they often carry those lessons into adolescence, marriage, and parenting unless intentional intervention occurs. This is Alpha Dialogue. Thanks for staying with us. We'll see you again on our next post. Now, if this video resonates with you, hit that subscribe button, share, like this video, and leave your comment below. We always at the comment section to interact with you.